नमस्कार, मी विनायक पासलक आणि थिंक बँकच्या बिझनेस गप्पा या सिरीज मध्ये तुम्हा सगळ्यांचं मनापासून स्वागत. गेले 6 महिने इंजिनिअरिंग, आयटी या सगळ्या क्षेत्रामध्ये एका इलेक्ट्रॉनिक चिप अवेलेबल नाहीत आणि म्हणून सगळा व्यवसाय थांबलाय अशी चर्चा खूप चालू होती. त्यावरून माझ्या लक्षात आलं की मी खूप काही वर्षांपूर्वी देवधर सरांना भेटलो होतो आणि भारतातल्या इलेक्ट्रॉनिक युगाचे जनक असं ज्यांना म्हणता येईल अशी व्यक्ती महाराष्ट्रीयन आहे, मराठी आहे, तर त्यांच्याशी गप्पा का मारू नयेत असा विचार सहज डोक्यात आला आणि सरांनी त्याला पटकन प्रतिसाद दिला. त्यामुळे आज आपण घटना वेगळी आहे पण त्यानिमित्ताने एका मोठ्या व्हिजनरी व्यक्तीशी गप्पा मारतोय याचा मला आनंद आहे. सर, माझा पहिला प्रश्न असा आहे की इतका प्रवास 1962 ला तुम्ही कंपनी चालू केली, आज 60 वर्ष त्या कंपनीला झाली, तर खूप मोठा प्रवास आहे. तर याची सुरुवात कशी झाली, ही कंपनी काढावी असं का वाटलं आणि कसा होता प्रवास?
मी कॉलेज ऑफ इंजिनिअरिंग पुणेमधनं माझी BE डिग्री घेतली. नंतर TIFR मध्ये मी होतो. त्यांचं इक्विपमेंट प्रोडक्शन ग्रुप होता, त्याच्यामध्ये होतो. ते सोडून 62 साली आय डिसाइडेड टू स्टार्ट माय ओन कंपनी टू मेक इलेक्ट्रॉनिक प्रोफेशनल इक्विपमेंट. So that's how it started in 1962 on a very small scale. And then over a period of time, a lot of new people joined in and our business grew fairly rapidly. And then in 1965, we had our own building in Maghar Estate and then several other units in Maghar Estate. So that is how the business has grown. I am not a businessman. I am a technologist. And the business grew by its merit, I suppose, than any promotion. I don't remember to have advertised APLAB too many times. So it was basically product which spoke for us. So we started producing. Then in 1972, I decided to try international market, and then I went to Hanover Fair, and we had a booth there.
Right.
And then we got a few international customers.
बरोबर.
So from then on, we have been working with them even till now. So that's how there was a growth of business, which grew, in my opinion, by the type of equipment that we were making and the quality of equipment that we were making, and our ability to comply with international standards for equipment.
बरोबर.
So that helped APLAB to grow from size to size.
पण सर, तुम्ही कायम असं म्हणता की तुम्ही टेक्नॉलॉजिस्ट आहात, व्यावसायिक नाही. कुठल्याही व्यावसायिक प्लॅटफॉर्मवरती तुम्ही दिसत नाही, मग ते काय फिक्की असू दे, नॅस्कॉम असू दे, म्हणजे तर हे काय आहे नक्की की व्यवसाय तर केला पण तुम्ही मात्र अजूनही टेक्नॉलॉजिस्ट आहात 60-70 वर्ष काम करून?
I kept away from most of the industry associations by and large, primarily because there was another reason. Because in 1974, Rajiv Gandhi as a pilot used to come to Mumbai, and that is where we became friends because he was interested in electronics.
True.
So that friendship grew, and finally when he had to enter the politics, he pulled me up and I went to Delhi. So
Right.
for a few years I was in Delhi as his advisor and also chairman of the Electronics Commission.
सर, तो एक वेगळाच प्रवास आहे की जे काही आयटीचं युग आलं त्याचं क्रेडिट राजीवजींना दिलंच पाहिजे, पण त्यांच्याबरोबर तुमच्यासारखी लोक होती. तर मला थोडं सविस्तर समजून घ्यायचं आहे की तुम्ही नक्की तिथं काय काम केलं. मी त्यातले काही किस्से ऐकलेत. तुम्ही इंदिराजींना भेटलात आणि मग एक प्लॅन मांडलात, तर त्या 10 वर्षाबद्दल जरा मला सांगा ना, दिल्लीतल्या तुमच्या.
दिल्लीमध्ये basically electronic policy of the country was totally wrong. And it was slightly before I joined in Delhi. I met Mrs. Gandhi, Indira Gandhi.
Right.
And then I told her about the electronic policy not being right policy for India to grow in this new field. And then she asked me, what kind of policy should we have?
Hmm.
And then I explained to her what needs to be done, and she asked me for a recommendation of the procedure for how we should do it. And finally, we had international connection, as well as the electronics industry grew very rapidly after the new policy was introduced in 1983. If you look at the figures, you will find that the industry grew almost 15 times.
Right.
By 1989. So that worked very well as far as the industrial growth is concerned. As you know, during that time, a lot of people, one of the things that was the industrial licensing.
Right.
So I told her, why should we have industrial licensing in electronics? If somebody wants to make something, let him make. And for which she said they take a lot of foreign exchange. But I said, foreign exchange, you don't give free. You charge heavily, you charge import duty, you charge excise duty. So finally, at that time, dollar was 12 rupees. I said, for 12 rupee dollar, you get 39 rupees in the government coffer. So it is better to give foreign exchange to industry. So that is how the whole thing started.
राईट. पण सर, तुम्ही जे काम केलं विशेषतः या सगळ्या इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स क्षेत्रामध्ये, आज 30 वर्ष झाली, त्याच्यानंतर लिबरलायझेशन आलं, तर आता तुम्हाला समाधान वाटतं का की त्यावेळी आपण जे काही केलं त्याचं इतकं मोठं आज भारतामध्ये झालं?
I think we did very well in software sector.
Okay.
But in hardware and in telecom sector, we did not do well.
Okay.
Because we did not focus on making India a production base or an R&D base for the world.
Right.
And that was the reason that you'll find that in telecom, we went on importing things from abroad rather than doing anything here. When then in between 1983, I think, Sam Petroda approached Mrs. Gandhi.
Yeah.
So he came and then he started some activity in electronics, in telecommunication. He went to an extent, but his experiment was also limited to small telephone exchanges.
Right.
And then he turned politician, so it changed the complexion.
True.
But so I was in Delhi till 1990 when Rajiv Gandhi lost election.
Right.
And then I came back to APLAB. Yeah.
ट्रू. सर, दोन गोष्टी या कालावधीतल्या मला माहिती आहेत की ज्या आमच्या सगळ्या व्ह्युअर्सना कळल्या पाहिजेत, की तुम्ही पंतप्रधानांचे मित्र होता, तिथं होता दिल्लीत, त्यावेळी तुम्ही APLAB सोडलेलं आणि याचा काहीही व्यावसायिक फायदा तुम्ही APLABला होऊ दिला नाहीत, ही पहिली गोष्ट. आणि जेव्हा राजीव गांधी आपले इलेक्शन हरले त्यावेळी तुम्ही त्याच स्टेचरनं परत APLAB मध्ये आलात आणि यू डिडंट जस्ट स्टिक टू दिल्ली. तर हे कसं जमलं, हे थोडं सांगा ना.
You see, there are certain people who go by principle. And one of the things that I decided to myself that I will not do anything special in Delhi for APLAB. And therefore, APLAB was run by professionals. They were not doing too badly, so it went on. Our focus was really on technology and production. Our company logo was leadership through technology. So APLAB made its own mark in the field of electronic production in India. And internationally also we could get some very excellent business. Even now, we have a very large export to UK. and Germany and the United States. So that business grows.
पण सर असं कधी वाटलं नाही का की म्हणजे ठरवलं असतं तर तुम्ही किती लाख कोटीची कंपनी बनवू शकला असता, तर हे अम्बिशन कधीच नाही मनात आलं?
As I told you, I am not an industrialist. I am a technician. And I didn't want to get into politics, though I had an opportunity to get into politics too. But I refrained from it because I don't like that field. And that's how I came back to APLAB. And we continued our work as we were doing. If you go to APLAB website, you will find a very large number of instruments and equipment and which we have developed over the period of time.
सर, तुम्ही परत आल्यानंतर दिल्लीतून एटीएम मशीन बनवली जी पण काळाच्या पुढे होती. तर हे जे काळाच्या पुढे असणारे डिव्हाइसेस बनवण्याचं जे विजन तुमच्याकडे आलं ते कशातून आलं आणि मग अशी कुठली मशीन्स तुम्ही बनवलीत की जी आज खूप रिलेव्हंट आहेत, तेव्हा खूप विजनरी होती?
नाही, त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्ही दोन तीन गोष्टीमध्ये वी टूक लीडरशिप. One was, like you said, automated teller machines. And when I looked at the teller machines which were being imported at that time from Delarue and others, I realized that these can be made in India and with Indian features. For instance, when we made our ATM, we decided to use the intelligence which is inside the ATM. None of the ATMs which were available, they were all networked ATMs. So they were not using, just to give you an example.
Right.
If you use our ATM, it will record you. And therefore, when you go to open that ATM again for you,
Right.
it will welcome you. So by dispensing money or whatever purpose you use ATM, at that time it will communicate with you as a person, which is unusual feature.
बरोबर.
Secondly, we will also take the picture of the person who is using the. So that gave a lot of safety to the whole thing. And as you know, ATM frauds still continue.
बरोबर.
Which would have stopped had they followed what we did.
Exactly.
But then what happens is the Indian banks are not enterprising. So they were not very courageous to buy our ATMs and use them.
Right.
So though we sold few ATMs to basically smaller banks, later on we found that it's difficult to market them.
Right.
So we just give them up, give up that product.
राईट. सर, पण तुमचे सगळे प्रोडक्ट्स हे भारतातल्या प्रश्नांना उत्तर शोधत होते की इंडियन प्रॉब्लेम्सना उत्तर शोधायची आणि जागतिक क्वालिटी स्टँडर्ड्स ठेवायची. तर आता असं वाटतंय का की ह्या टेक्नॉलॉजीनं खूप प्रॉब्लेम सोडवायला मदत झाली इन रेट्रोस्पेक्ट विचार केला तर?
If you develop a product for India, it is good for the world, because we have such clients that they need a lot of support from the product itself. So we concentrated on making our products intelligent, so that user is more comfortable using what we made. Like, for instance, I'll tell you, in 1983, I designed a smart card.
Wow.
And smart card chip was made by Semiconductors Limited, Government of India enterprise. Okay. And using that, we made smart card based payphones. So these payphones became fairly well received by the market.
Wow.
For instance, at one time, all the MPs in the parliament, our payphones, our phones were there.
Right.
So they were using in those days. But later on, technology changed. Technology changed, and that product really did not, as you know, cell phones came and
Exactly.
tabletop phones really became redundant.
राईट. पण सर त्यावेळेला जी टेक्नॉलॉजीची गती होती, स्पीड होता, त्याच्यापेक्षा आज खूप फास्ट टेक्नॉलॉजी बदलतीये. आज जो स्मार्टफोन वापरतो तो 2 वर्षांना इरिलेव्हंट होतो, नवीन काहीतरी येतं, आणि ऑल दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स. तर या स्पीड बद्दल तुम्हाला काय वाटतं आजच्या जगातल्या इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्सच्या चेंज?
Basically what has happened is, because of the software development, a lot of hardware got replaced with software. And that's how you are using cell phone, you are not bothered about hardware. Whether you use television or whether you use cell phone or whatever device you use, you are not bothered about hardware. You are bothered about software. So that is where India unfortunately got hooked up to providing software services rather than developing software.
Right.
So all our TCS and big companies, you'll find there is no software product. They don't have a single software product.
Right.
And that I always complain to these people that one thing you could have done instead of just being software services nation, you would have become far bigger had you taken that route.
तुम्ही पुढचा विचार करता. 20 वर्षापूर्वी तुम्ही जो विचार केला ते आज खूप सगळीकडे ऑमनी प्रेझेंट आहे. तर तुम्हाला काय वाटतं की पुढच्या 20 वर्षामध्ये असं कोणतं तंत्रज्ञान आहे, अशा कोणत्या गोष्टी आहेत की ज्या भारतावर आणि जगावर राज्य करतील?
I think one thing is there. A lot of Indians worked abroad, especially in the United States. And they made a wonderful name for themselves. They are now leaders of the companies. US companies, many US companies are led by Indians. So to an extent now, I think Indians have a leadership in that area. And it will continue. Now you see more and more Indian companies in Bangalore and Hyderabad are very proactive in terms of making their mark in the world market. So I think that is a good development, and Indian skills in software are now well recorded and well received.
पण सर ह्याला पॅरलल जे हार्डवेअरच्या गोष्टी म्हणजे रोबोटिक्स आहे, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजन्स आहे, हे सगळं पुढे जाईल का भारतामध्ये? काय वाटतं?
ते ऑटोमॅटिकली येईल. You see, all these technologies are with people. And there are many of us Indians in this field now who have fairly large, strong grip on technology. Whether they become a commercial success or not depends on various other things. But in terms of knowledge base, I think we are strong.